Okay, hello world. So I recently took and passed the JLPT, which is the Japanese language proficiency test lately. And I wanted to talk about like what I did and advice for those who want to do the same thing. I only took the N2, so not the N1. I want to do the N1 at some point, but that'll come later. I think just the main thing, the books I found the most useful was this series called Shinkansen Master. I bought these four books. I have I believe there's five in total. Well, the ones I have are, vocabulary, listening, grammar, and this is reading comprehension. The last one is a kanji book, but I didn't really feel a need to buy that one because I'm already pretty good at kanji already, and I didn't really feel like I needed another book for that. But actually, I only ended up using three of them. I never used the vocabulary one because I felt like I already did a lot of reading from the Dokkai book. So I kind of had an understanding on what vocabulary I would see on the test, and sure enough, I saw most of what I expected. So, I think if I rank them like in terms of order of importance, I would say the grammar is the most important if you struggle with grammar. I mean, this is a very good book. I mean, the first half of the book has every single grammar point that you're going to encounter, and it has something like 20 lessons, I want to say. 26. It has 26 lessons, and each lesson has I think 6 grammar points. Like each one of these is one grammar point that you will likely see on the test. So I just did the first half of it where I just covered the grammar. I didn't do the second half of it because I wanted to do it, but I ran out of time and I didn't feel like it was strictly necessary. But this is a very good foundation for all the different grammar that you'll get on the test. Then probably the second most important is the reading. I mean, this one is the thickest, and I think this is one that's also the most well done. Because one thing too about this series, it'll show you the types of questions you'll actually encounter on the test, and it'll give you reading that's similar to what you will see on the test. Because I think it's based on past test results, and it's very good. It's very realistic to what you'll see. I mean, it's not exactly like past test results, but it's very good. Another thing I liked about this one too is that for the answers in the back, it'll actually tell you why exactly that answer is right and this one is wrong. That's one kind of complaint I had about this grammar book, is that it just told you the answer and you kind of had to figure out why the answer is. It didn't really bother explaining, but in the Dokkai book it works. They did a lot of explaining for why this answer and not this one. And then this Chokai was also very good as well. This one is by far the smallest, and it's a little less expensive than the other ones. It comes with a CD, but you can download the audio from their website. And it's not very long, but it'll cover approximately the level that you'll see on the test. And the thing it goes through all the different sorts of questions, all the different sorts of skills and types of questions you will see. It prepares you very well for the test, I think. I didn't get a chance to do the vocabulary book, but just they're skimming through it. It seems like a decent book, but I think if you want to get a solid foundation, the three you'll probably want to aim for are the Chokai, Dokkai, and Bunpo. One thing I noticed too is that if you're in Japan or if you're traveling to Japan at some point, I'd recommend you pick up the books while you're there or if you're there. Because I actually bought this one while I was there. Oops. And, it's cheaper there compared to if you buy them off Amazon. Like, I think I have the price tag, like, on it. Yeah, this one was, $15.40. So, like, what, $10? And then if you ship them through Amazon, they're probably closer to $20, which, I mean, it's more than worth it for, like, the books and materials you're getting, but it's just a bit cheaper if you're actually in the country itself. And then I think another thing, too, is if you're preparing for the test, I think it's a good idea to, one way you can improve is just by, I think it's kind of been beaten to death, like, at this point. It's not so revolutionary anymore. But, actually immerse yourself in material that you want to, do in Japanese. I don't know, it could be watching a movie, it could be reading a book, it could be playing a game, whatever you want to do, just do more of it, like, in the language, and I think naturally you'll just get better. You'll learn, like, all the different, and you'll improve your grammar, you'll get a lot better at kanji. I think for kanji, too, one thing you should not do is you should learn kanji. You should learn them from words. You shouldn't learn them individually. Like, if you, just like if you have one kanji, you shouldn't learn kanji individually and try to, like, memorize the pronunciations, because I think that's largely a waste of time. Just you should be like immersing in Japanese, and when you come across a word you don't know and a kanji you don't know, well, you should look up the kanji and try to familiarize yourself with it and try to, like, learn it. I recommend you, like, attach, like, one, like, basic, like, English keyword, but you should find the word and then learn the kanji, not the kanji and then the word. I think that's an important concept. What else? For the listening comprehension too, you have to be careful because, in my experience, the audio wasn't very good, and I've seen a lot of people say the same thing. So you really have to perk up your ears during the listening section. And if the audio is not good too, or you can't hear it very well, make sure you raise your hand or you say something before the audio starts, because once the audio starts playing, they're not going to stop it. I don't think time is a massive issue on the JLPT. It's not really much of a factor. At least for me, it wasn't really much of a factor. If you take the ACT, that test is all about time. Like, you have to do things very quickly, and you just have to keep going. You don't have a chance to, like, second guess yourself or, review. But you have more of a time. The only exception to that would probably be, like, the reading section. I know some people aren't great readers, or, like, they're more slow readers. So for those people, they might struggle a little bit. But I think if you're, like, just normal reading speed, then it's pretty much, the time is not really much of an issue, I don't think. And for kanji too, like, if you're at a lower level, like, don't be scared of kanji. Just don't use kana as a crutch. That's one thing a lot of people do. Japanese just uses kanji, and if you don't learn kanji, then you're not going to learn Japanese. You just have to use the kanji. You have to read the kanji. Like, don't always use beginner materials. Like, you have to, like, read actual native material if you want to get better at it. And, like, don't be frightened by kanji. You'll get used to it after time goes on. You'll get better and better at it. But just don't use all these resources that are purely in hiragana. It's not helpful for learning. And I think another thing too is that don't be too focused on clearing textbooks. I mean, textbooks are, I mean, they can be useful in some cases, but don't spend all your time on doing workbooks or doing textbooks. I mean, you have to like use the language to some capacity. I mean, probably the most ideal combination is you combine them. You use both a textbook or a workbook, and you immerse in Japanese, but don't use purely one or the other. And if you're going to use purely one or the other, it's probably better to err on using, like, immersing in the language. Like, don't just do purely textbooks, and don't just purely study Japanese by listening to other Japanese learners. That's a terrible idea, and I think that's kind of a trap that a lot of people fall into. Yeah, I think that's about it. Good luck on anybody taking this test, and hopefully you pass.